Each year we have a parent member from our community speak to our Moving Up Day students, and today we are privileged to have Mr. Ken Krasnow. Mr. Krasnow has 4 children here in the Bedford Central School District. Nick is ours, but there's also Claudia, William, and Matthew. And Mr. Krasnow is a marketing executive with over 25 years of experience. He has worked for PepsiCo for the last 15 years in various marketing roles. And currently, Mr. Krasnow leads the National Promotions Group, which covers all PepsiCo brands. In addition, if he has any free time, what he also loves to do is enjoy his family from the outdoors, hiking, fishing, skiing, surfing, running, and playing lacrosse. Additionally, he's an endurance athlete who has completed over, I'm tired already, 15 triathlons. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mr. Krasnow.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, students. Good morning, Principal Berardi, Superintendent Hockman, Dr. Adelberg, teachers, parents, friends, honored guests, and any foreign dignitaries that we have here with us today. Right now, students, you're probably asking yourselves 2 questions. First, who is this guy? I mean, that was a great introduction, but who is he really? And what makes him so special that he should be speaking to me on my Moving Up Day? And the second question is probably, exactly how close is this guy going to get to me? Right? Well, Jonathan Buckeye is looking very nervous up here, so I'm going to answer that question first. This is about as close as I'm going to get. But I want to be close because my words are for you. Okay? Now, I've got, in terms of who I am, well, I am the proud father of a student that has come before you, 2 students that will follow you, and 1 student that sits among you today, Nicholas Krasnow. Hi, Nick. I have one more question for you, students, and I promise that is my last question, and this one I'm going to let you answer. Who's psyched? This is your Moving Up Day. Who's psyched? Who's excited? All right, well, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be here with you today to help celebrate all of the many accomplishments that you've achieved to get to this moment, your Moving Up Day. And I'm also excited to be here with you because you're sitting on the cusp of a very big adventure. Now, you didn't realize you were sitting on the cusp of anything, right? You thought you were just sitting on a chair. No, you're not. You're sitting on the cusp of a really big adventure. And that waits for you about 300 yards up the road, and that's high school. And high school is a time of tremendous learning and discovery. And I'm not talking about the academic kind. I mean, that's important, and I hear that happens up there. But I'm talking about something far, far more important. And that's the adventure and the journey of discovering you. You see, it's really interesting because much of who you are right now and who you'll be is an absolute mystery because your parents have meticulously planned every aspect of your life with love and with care. Your past, present, and future have really been guided and molded by them. But that's about to change because in high school, you're given a tremendous amount of freedom and independence to make all kinds of decisions. And it's your job to play with this new awakening, right? Discover and learn and become. And you don't have to worry because you're going to an environment that just wants to support and nurture your success. And I promise you, 4 years from now, you will be as ready as you are now for the next step. But between now and then, I have a few thoughts for you to think about on your journey, your adventure to discovering you. Number 1, first thought. I see Garrett is locked onto me. Follow your dreams. Follow your passions. That doesn't sound very new, right? You've heard that before. But what you may not have heard that's very related to that is don't take no from anyone who doesn't have the power to say yes. There are lots of people out there with opinions, with all kinds of intentions, many of them very, very good, but it's your job to sort through all of those opinions and understand, well, who are the people who just have opinions, and who are the people who really have the power to say yes to my dreams and help me get on my path? And do not take no from anyone who doesn't have that power to say yes. And if someone with the power to say yes says no, well, what's your response? You just kind of say, okay, pack it up. No. That's not your response. Your response is why? Why? And deeply understand those barriers, right, to overcoming what you need to do to turn that no into a yes. You know, it's really interesting because when I first started my career, I worked for a number of small companies, and I thought, wow, it would be really cool to work for a giant company. You know, one that has lots of opportunities and resources and have the opportunity to travel a little bit. So I kind of put on my best suit, and I went into the city, and I spoke to some authority figures. And, you know, this one authority figure said to me, said, Krasnow, no, you have no chance. There is no way. You don't have the experience or the advanced degree to get to where you want to go. So, wow, that was an earful. So I left, and I felt pretty dejected, but I was on the train, and I said, you know what? Although this guy's an authority figure, and he's got some connection to the world I want to be in, he doesn't have the power to say yes. He doesn't have any jobs. So I went to people who have jobs at some of these big corporations. You know what they said? No. So, wow. So this time I learned a little bit, and I said, okay, why? Tell me. What am I missing? And they were very happy to tell me that. And you'll find that. People are very happy to tell you where your gaps are. But it was good. I listened, and I really wanted to understand. And I went away from that with a lot of knowledge, and I spent a couple of years really working on filling knowledge gaps and stretching myself. And I'm really proud to say that this year I'm celebrating my 15th year working for one of the largest corporations on the face of the planet. And I have to tell you honestly, every single day has been fun. I love what I do, and I made the right choice in entering this world. And I wouldn't have gotten here if I took no from someone who didn't have the power to say yes. And when I got that no, asking why, and then knocking down those barriers. And that's what I want you to do, right? Because barriers are what? They're just problems to be solved. And you all are great at solving problems. You wouldn't be sitting here today if you didn't know how to solve problems. Another thing, you know, I want you to think about is always be reaching and always be striving for something, and something big. Set goals for yourself on both the personal and the academic front. And when you reach those goals, set new goals and more challenging goals. Please make sure those goals are challenging. I mean, if you're on a journey to discover yourself, you're not going to learn much if you just hover around the things that you're good at. You've got to push yourself. Push the boundaries, push beyond your comfort zone. Because quite frankly, folks, we don't learn very much from our successes. I mean, don't get me wrong, success is great. It's how we keep score. It's how we know that we're achieving, that we're accomplishing. But quite frankly, when you're up here on the podium receiving an award, you're not learning much at that moment. Now, that's an important moment. But it's also important to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Situations that you know are good for you somewhere, but they make you nervous, they make you uncomfortable, they may be scary and risky, and they may be painful at times. But you know better than I know, or at least as well, that money can't buy the feeling that accompanies succeeding and achieving a goal that was tough. You gotta earn that. And you earn it by putting yourself in a tough situation where you're really stretching. That's where all the growth, that's where all the learning comes from. You know, and in doing that, that may sound easier said than done, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. Is everybody listening? Okay, all right. I know you're not checking phones. Here's the secret. Don't fear mistakes, because there are none. There are no mistakes. There are only opportunities to learn and grow and get better. Who watched the NBA Finals? Anybody? Anybody watch the NBA Finals? Go Heat. Yeah, go Heat, right? Well, I'm going to talk about the other team. There's a guy on the other team by the name of Ginobili. Does anybody know Ginobili? Okay, good. Ginobili believes very much in what I'm telling you right now, that there are no mistakes, right? There are only opportunities to learn and get better. And he's perfected this attitude so well that when he does make an error on the court, he immediately forgets it, and he moves on, and he's on to the next play. And that's what makes him great. He doesn't let that error or that so-called mistake get in his head, because he knows there are no mistakes in life. There are just opportunities to learn, grow, and get better. The last thing I want you to think about on your journey to discovering you and becoming is diversity. Diversity. Very important. We've talked a little bit today about the internet and technology, and those things have made the world very, very small. And we're sharing all kinds of ideas cross-culturally, right? And that you're going to experience that, a lot of that. And your success, quite frankly, is going to depend to a great deal on how open you are to other people's points of view, even if they're different than your own, right? And different cultures, even if people look different or talk different. Very important. When you get to high school and college and beyond, this idea of being open to diversity of thought and cultural diversity only becomes more important. And this is a hard thing for us to do, right? Because our brains are hardwired to seek sameness. So here comes the little evolutionary lesson, right? About 30 million years ago, right on this spot, there were cavemen. And if they strayed too far from the cave or ate some berry that looked really enticing to them, that could be the end. So they had to seek sameness. So what does that mean to you, right? Well, we come from those folks, right? And our brains haven't evolved too far past this desire to seek sameness, right? But we don't need to worry about those things today. We can stray from the cave. We can eat all kinds of berries. We have the FDA. We have all kinds of things to protect us, right? But our brains want to look for the same thing, hang out with the same people, think about the same ideas. That's something you got to be conscious of and fight past. So when you're in high school next year, go up to somebody that looks different from you. Have lunch with them. Talk to them. You know, talk to someone who has different political views than you and be open. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. And if you say, well, this is just Krasnow up here telling me this. Well, let me talk to you about Bill Gates. He's a guy that believes in diversity, right? We all respect him. He's done a lot to change some aspects of our life. You know, Bill Gates didn't invent the iPad alone or the iPod. He had the idea, right? He came up with the idea to digitally transfer music, right? But it was a scientist that came up with the idea to use these ultra-thin microchips that were just collecting dust in some Chinese factory. And Gates built such a diverse team that he even had a marketing guy like me on his team. And that guy came up with a really elegant, wheel that enables you to switch through songs and applications. And it was a designer who came up with the sleek look, which is absolutely brilliant. And those white earbuds, right? What other brand in the world do you not have to see, because this one's hidden in your pocket, you just see these white earbuds and you think, iPod, that's brilliant. So Steve Jobs knew that he had to open up his repertoire to more ideas and more people to really build great things. And you know what, guys? You're building something much greater and much cooler than an iPod. You're building yourselves. So you can't afford not to follow your dreams. You can't afford to take no from anyone who doesn't have the power to say yes. You can't afford to not continually be reaching and striving and challenging yourselves. And maybe most importantly, you need to be open to different ideas from different people. It has been a great pleasure and an honor for me to speak with you today. I wish you the best of luck over the next 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krasnow. Thank you very, very much. Lessons for all of us in the audience.